This is my Woodchuck wood stove. And you can see that it's in really good shape inside. I've got some other things to show you, but first let's get this cleaned up. Okay, now obviously the grate went missing in this a long time ago. And what has happened is the guy I bought this from made this grate here out of 1/4-inch plate steel, cut holes in it for the ashes to go through, and it's worked fine. It's just that I don't like it exactly the way it is, so I'm going to take it out and look this thing over and see what we got here. Oh yeah. That's about as good as that's going to get. Because this here, where you put the pan in, is narrower than it is behind it. Here. It goes out about 1/2 inch each way. So that pan is going to fit about like that. Now I'm missing a few little pieces of fire brick back there, but I don't think that's going to really matter because it's not going to get enough heat underneath those to hurt it any. So let's get the grate back in. Now I'm going to pull this grate all the way to the front, and you can see back there there's a little gap, but I think I can fix that. This is a piece of the old grate that used to be in there, and you can see that it's pretty warped. This one here is not in too bad a shape. It's pretty flat and it's laying pretty flat, and we got enough air, so I've got to fix that back, so I think I will use that old plate to do that. Alright, now that's going to work for this year. If this stove works okay, then what I'll do is I'll get new fire brick and I'll put all new fire brick in there if this stove is going to carry the weight and do what I want it to do. If it's not, I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend the time or the effort doing that. So everything's in place now in here, and I think this stove is going to function fine. So now we need to clean the stack. Now you can see up here, this stove works just like my other stove does. And the damper, you close it and it comes up and goes up through here and across the top and then out the stack. So when you get ready to load wood, you open the stack here and it closes the stack back here. But in other words, you're getting the heat off the smoke as well. So that's how that works, and it's just like my big stove. It does exactly the same thing. As you can see it up there when I close it. And also, just like my big stove, this has a forced air feeder here. It's got a little motor here. Now, I also need to get this cleaned up. So that's probably, after I get the stack cleaned, that's probably the next step I'm going to do here. I got to get this cleaned up, and right here at that little point, these are oilers, and you can see they're covered up with dirt and they're plugged. So I've got to get those cleaned out. I'm going to blow them out with air and try to get as much out of there as I possibly can. These are the weep holes where you add oil to this every so often. So this will have to come off, and the motor will have to be disconnected, I think, and then we'll see what we shall see there. It has worked in the past. I haven't used this stove for a while, but the last time I used it, this motor actually worked. Now there is also a draft right here, and this is like an open flow draft, but when you're using the air, you can shut it off, and then it'll smother the fire just like my big stove does. And then when this kicks back on here, then that will feed the fire. If you leave this open, you can do that like while you're here, but if you try to do that overnight, that will just burn up your wood. It'll just keep cycling and blowing and cycling and blowing, and it'll just burn up the wood. This way, when this is closed, this feeds the fire when it needs it, and when it doesn't, it just smothers it. Now we'll get the stack clean. It's pretty clean, so I guess we'll put her back up. I know, I should do something better here, and I promise I will. As I've continuously stated, I really need to see how this stove is going to perform for me before I go to the lengths of setting everything up exactly right. So the next step here is to make sure that the blower works. So let's do that next. Now before I go to all the trouble of taking this blower off, I'm going to clean it good, and I'm going to lubricate it, and then I'm going to try starting it and see how it runs. I want to see if I can get all the dirt out of these. They don't look too bad, actually. I guess this is the only lubrication point. I don't feel any other ones anywhere. I thought there was a weep hole on the back, but apparently that's the only one. The way this stove works, there is a switch here. This electrifies it. There is a thermostat over there that you can set for heat. This is the blower motors, and in is manual, so you can turn them on anytime you want, and out there is automatic. So anyway, we're going to fire this up and see if this blower works. I got to get it lubricated. And my thermostat is set very low right now. It's set about 70, I guess, or whatever that is. Fahrenheit would be right there. So I'm going to turn this all the way up. Turn the switch on. I heard it click. Now, let's see if this blower runs. It does not. That should be calling for heat. There it goes. Okay, the blower does run. You can see it says off here and on here. And this is the lubrication point, so let's go with that. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Blower works great, and it's pushing air. I can feel it sucking air here, blowing out a little there, blowing out to the inside. I guess that's all we need to do with that. Alright, this blower's blowing real good, but for some reason where the air intake should be coming out, actually the air should go in this side of the blower and it should push up into here, and I'm not feeling as much air as I need to feel. Little tiny screw. It's not a bolt. Alright, I stuck this bolt back in here while I take this bottom one out. These are 5/16. Somebody's been in here before because the other one is a funky size. Boy, there's just 2 little tiny holes there. Well, there's 3. Now this is blowing really good here. Boy, it's just blowing like crazy. Okay, there's a cavity in here where I thought the air was coming to, but it goes through these holes and down and comes right out here. And it's blowing like crazy right out here, and then it blows up through these holes too. So it's feeding the air apparently in 2 ways, and it seems like it's doing a good job. So I just got to make sure this is sealed good here when I reattach. Okay, I got these guys started by hand. Alright, that one's in. Okay. see how our air is doing now. Oh yeah, we got good airflow here. We got airflow here. Everything looks good. That was a little loose. He was too. Sure are getting airflow now. Right in there, right where the fire will be. All right, now I got this fire brick in here just about as best as I can. And it looks like it's gonna work. Like I say, if this stove works out, I will replace that whole back panel. And we'll see what happens. But I think this is gonna work fine for now. So let's get this thing fired up. I'm gonna get real old school here and use matches. Anybody remember these? There, I got the switch on. I've got the blower working. This unit here out is automatic, and when you push in, it's manual. So you can run your wood stove either way. And it's out and automatic right now. So we'll let this get fired up a little bit here. We're gonna see how this thing does. Put some kindling in it anyway. Nice. Okay, we'll put a little more kindling in. That'll do it. Well, one thing that a lot of people do that I don't agree with is they just stand back and heat the wood in. And I don't think that's a real good thing to do, especially when you're dealing with fire brick. So I usually very carefully place it in. I'll fill this up. And this also here is a smoke blocker, so if you don't get as much out into the room. One more piece to put in there. That's enough for now. Everything's on automatic. I have set my thermostat over here to about 45 degrees, and that's what I want to kind of maintain in here. I don't need it any warmer than that. Today it's a beautiful sunny day outside, and we're into March. I was actually going to start this up in January and do this test, but things happen. So anyway, we're doing it now. Let's go out inside and look at the stack. Rolling out of the stack just perfect. Nice draft. So let's give this some time and see how this works. All right, the blower just kicked on automatic. And you can feel the air coming out here. So now we'll see how long it takes to get it warmed up in here, where it shuts the blower down and kills the fire. We will shut this up. Now it will be feeding directly off this. And you can see the blower's just shut down. So apparently it got this firebox in here cooled down enough to shut the blowers down. So now we'll see if they fire back up when our fire gets hotter again. The little blower's working well. The air coming in here. Feel it being sucked into it. Now, because you have the damper here, there you heard it just kick back on. Because you have the damper here, you don't need any damper in your stack, because the damper is actually in here. And what it does is it forces the smoke down and the heat, and it comes up and goes back across the top plate here and down under, and that's what kicks this on and off. And the real nice thing about this wood stove is if I need to come out here on a really cold day, and let's say it's only 45 degrees in the shop, all I have to do is shut this blower off here and open a little bit of a draft there, and I can control it that way, and I can get a little higher burn rate, and I can get a little higher temperature out of this stove rather than keeping it on automatic. So this stove is kind of the best of both worlds, and I really like it, and I think it's going to work awesome. Shut down again. Blower's still running, so the temperature's not up yet in here. The thermostat will actually shut this blow feeder down when the correct temperature has been achieved in the building. Blower just kicked on for the third time. Feeder blower is still running, so we're not up to temperature yet. Now the big blower's running, This blower now is shut down. This big blower will shut down here in a minute, and then we'll have to wait and see when this one starts back up. These bricks here, I'm going to put up there. I'm going to go out and get a ladder and put these guys up there and try to block off that where it goes out to the stack. So I'm going to go get a ladder, and we're going to do that. That'll certainly help some. I've got a slight gap on this other side. Now I'm still waiting for the input blower to kick on here. And I've opened my man door to let some cool in. And if it doesn't take off here in a minute, I'll open the big door and let cold in. And we'll see how this is going to work. Now the big blower just kicked on again, but this intake blower has not. And I've got the open flow draft closed tight. I got that hole plugged up there. The stuff I use is an absolutely fireproof kind of material. It's this stuff here, and they use it in kilns. You can put an acetylene torch on one side of that and your hand on the back, and it won't burn you. There, with the man door open, it got just cool enough in here to kick the blower back on. So I'm going to let this cycle again, see if our other big blowers come on, if the fire kicks up, and we'll take a look at it. Coming right back to life, and there they come. Alright, this thing is going to work perfectly. The only thing I don't know is if this stove will hold for 12 hours or not. That is the question. Yeah, I'm hoping I can feed it twice a day, but I don't know. Now, the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to stack this stove full of wood. This blower has shut down on the thermostat over there, and the big blower has shut down as well. We're going to leave it just like this. I brought more wood in, and we'll come out later this evening when I check my big stove, and we'll see how this is doing, and we'll fill it back up, and we'll see if it lasts till 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, this is the moment of truth. Is this stove gonna hold for 12 hours? I came out last night at 7 o'clock in the evening when I checked my big stove, and I looked at this one. And I filled it up. I only had to put a couple pieces of wood in it. And now it is 7 o'clock the next morning, and the stove is hot. The blowers are down, so it's up to temperature. Let's see what we got. Oh my. This is gonna work. I've still got wood left. I've got big chunks of wood left. Awesome. This is gonna work, guys. The only thing I don't know yet is how much wood it's going to burn. So we're gonna find that out directly. I'm still running my coal stove, and I have about 10 or 15 bags of coal left. So today is the day that we do this. And shut the coal stove down and see if the wood stove will handle this deal. And I think it will. So anyway, I hope you like this video of the Woodchuck wood stove. I finally got this video done. I've been promising some people I was gonna do a video on this stove for a long time. And I hope you were patient with me. Keep working hard, and we'll catch you on the next video. Have a great day.